little talk on here as I brush my hair and I get ready about this whole thought of I am no longer vegan. Well, I am still plant-based. Like, I am 100% not eating meat, not eating dairy for the most part. Like, occasionally I'll have a dessert that might end up having like some dairy in it, but if like I could do it the most ideal way possible for myself, like ideally for me, I don't want any dairy. I'm lactose intolerant anyway, so like if I do eat dairy, sometimes it just kind of upsets my stomach. But here's the thing, I consider myself plant-based because for the most part, I just don't want to eat animal products, and it's a very natural continuation of my life. I didn't do it, like, I'll tell you why I don't consider myself vegan anymore or use that term. And it's not because I have anything against people that are vegan or activists. It's just because it never really applied to me or appealed to me. I'll share some of my insights. Like, people are just so devastated right now about people who are no longer vegan, that were like animal activists. But I don't want to be like, I told you so, but I told you so because, okay, a lot of these people were younger. Some of them were in their late teens, maybe mid-teens, early 20s when they came to this lifestyle. And I think it was trendy on YouTube and it was something that they wanted to do. And a lot of people, I feel like they view activism as the modern religion. Like, a lot of people are just very open about what their political affiliation is. They're very open about, like, I've noticed that since, religion isn't as big of a thing in mainstream society anymore. Like, well, some people are still really big about religion. I got a really weird comment the other day on my other channel about wanting to talk about Ray Comfort, and I looked at some of his films right away and I'm like, well, this is triggering and kind of weird because I feel like you could be a Christian or Muslim person without being confrontational and going out on the streets and telling people naughty about their lifestyle. Like, that's my reaction to some people that are about that, like that about religion. I kind of feel the same way about activism and just politics. I feel like some people are just wanting to maybe push it on other people too much and then they get burned out. But it's okay. See, this is the thing. I personally don't hold it against anybody, but I feel like that's kind of an extroverted position where you want to be involved in other people's lives, you want to tell other people what to do, or you feel comfy kind of like monitoring and suggesting what other people should do. But if you're more of an introverted person, I would say more of like, I don't know, I don't exactly agree with all the libertarian ideas either, because just as more time goes on, I just feel like all political ideologies are very flawed. And I think you should still vote, but honestly, I just think activism, politics, extreme organized religion, none of those things appeal to me. Like, I feel like you could be spiritual and more introverted and you don't want to belong to a group of people. So honestly, like, early on, like, a lot of things about vegan activism just did not appeal to me. A lot of vegans were just in a kind of orthorexic mindset where they would be like, you need to wear a bikini. And yeah, I do kind of blame Durian Ryder and Freely for some of that, because they would go on the internet and tell people, hey, you need to look like 100 pounds in a bikini. And that is ED. Okay, that's ED. I'm sorry. There's no way to dice it and slice it. But if you're telling people to go on some extreme form of diet, like only eating fruit or something, so that they can be super slim, and it didn't work for a lot of people, by the way. Maybe it works for some people, but it doesn't work for everybody. That's like promoting an eating disorder. And then also, too, something that used to like highly bother me, maybe because I'm a little bit older and I don't know, I'm more cognizant of these things. I feel like if you come to a plant-based lifestyle after the age of 30, like, you've had more time to think about these things. And I feel like maybe younger people, older people do this too, but it's just not kosher or appropriate to talk about somebody's body shape and weight. It's just not. Like, and I would be appalled at our local market night. There was this very popular vegan vendor called Just Vegana, and some of the younger vegans would be like, I didn't know vegans could be big. Or one time they said something about how this one woman shouldn't be getting food there because of her body shape. And that made me disgusted. That made me just outright disgusted. Okay, so hi, thank you for your nice comment. So I just was so disgusted when I heard some younger people who were drawn to veganism thought it was okay to like mock somebody's weight in public, and they thought that was okay. But here was somebody that was actually eating vegan food, like on your team, but you were openly saying bad things about them. And I just wonder, that woman heard you. It's never okay to talk about somebody behind their back or just where you can hear them, because it's a form of gossip, it's backbiting, and I don't like that. And I'm not saying all vegans do that, but there was a lot of gossip, backbiting, reaction videos, just talking about people's weight, like talking about how people look. And look, yeah, we should all strive to be in a healthy weight range, but if somebody is a larger sized person and they're going to a vegan vendor at a market night and they're trying vegan nachos, maybe you should applaud them, because hey, that could open the door for them to making healthier food options. But if their first impression was, oh, like hearing somebody mock them, so I just think it was all kinds of like ED. You know, talking about anybody's body shape, saying anybody looks big, that's a form of eating disorder on the part of the person that says those things. It's not appropriate in any place, time to like verbally express how you think somebody should look different. Yes, it's good to like try and get to a healthier size, but you're not helping somebody who might be larger, who might have health issues. And you might just be like, well, they're lazy, and be very rude, but you don't know their life story, and then you're just putting them down because of the way they look. You're not helping them out. Like, are you helping that person make healthier choices? So when I heard vegans publicly say things like that, and even one time, like me, who I feel I look good, and somebody said at the market night I shouldn't get that burrito. Yeah, I didn't talk about this fully before, but a lot of the vegans or young vegans that would go to that market night, like not everybody, but they would say things to people that they thought were not real thin. They thought that they shouldn't get that vegan food, and it wasn't the people who made the food, because Just Vegan is amazing. They make authentic vegan Mexican food, and there's a guy that's a vegan plant-based baker, and he didn't look real thin, and he looked like a normal-sized person, and he was talented. And it was not the people who made the food, don't get me wrong, it was the people in line. And I just wonder if now when you have a lot of people that are leaving veganism and they're like, oh, I'm no longer vegan, it's because there was a lot of eating disorder in that community. Eating disorder. And I know people go from one thing to another, but we already knew that plant-based lifestyles or veganism or even vegetarianism, they're a smaller part of the population, and they do not appeal to everybody, and they have large rates of atrophy, and a lot of people leave. But I wonder, okay, this is just my thought, like the people when they're leaving veganism and they're no longer wanting to be vegan, are they feeling like bad about some of the things they might have said about people, like some of the reaction videos? Because I don't think if you care about animals that you're treating other human beings like crap. If you want to promote healthy food options, do it across the board. Stop making comments about people's body shape. It's never been okay. Like, I don't know, when I was a small child, I was told, you don't make comments about the way people look in public. That's not cool. You don't make fun of somebody's looks, because people sometimes are trying to make healthier choices. And now, like when some vegans leave, and I'm not saying that all the people who left veganism were that way, but it was very popular. But I also kind of would like hold accountable accounts that promoted this very skinny girl chic in a bikini. And I always thought that's very problematic, because some people are naturally skinny, but if you're telling people, oh, there's this new diet and you can eat this way so you can look like that in a bikini, yeah, you're going to have some people who have an eating disorder, because you can't just eat bananas and fruit in excess like that. Maybe some people can, but a lot of people cannot do that. It's not sustainable. That's not a balanced diet. So there's a lot of ED promoted in the vegan community, and I know a lot of vegans don't want to take accountability for that, or harsh things they said about people, or just body shaming, you don't have a right, like, it's never appropriate to make comments about somebody's size at any time, any place. I don't know. I guess some people were just not taught that when they were little. I would think in kindergarten you learn that. But if you went in a public place, or you went on YouTube and you made videos shaming people for not being vegan so that they could lose weight to look this way, you're not helping them. Nobody's gonna feel like, oh, that's helping me lose weight. A balanced diet and more exercise will help people get to a healthier weight goal. And also too, a lot of people's obsession with being like real thin when they're more on the curvy side is not realistic for their body type. Some people are naturally skinny, some people are more curvy. And it's like people forget there's a range of healthy like weights within the healthy spectrum of weight, but we're so fixated. Like there are some people that think if you're this like really skinny, really tiny number, that is ding dong healthy. But I actually read the medical literature, and you know it's not completely true. Because if you're encouraging someone to be underweight by eating a whole bunch of fruit, you have a problem. And I know some people that went on to the cook veganism said, oh, we're not doing that. We're not part of that problem. But you may have contributed to the problem if you made videos body shaming someone, if you were in a public place telling someone that they shouldn't eat certain food because they're not 100 pounds, and you were not encouraging people. Why would anybody want to become a vegan when they see vegans act that way? Look, meat eaters, I've talked about this before. People that eat just meat can be just as rude. Like as a kid, I grew up mostly vegetarian, and I had a lot of rude comments made to me like, oh, I like my meat. And I was just this introverted person. So those are just my whole opinions about the veganism thing. But I think that's why a lot of people realize after a certain amount of time that being vegan is not sustainable, because they came to it from an unhealthy place. They were not brought to it by a healthy place. And then, I don't know, they didn't know certain P's and Q's about just how you treat people, words you say, like feelings that you have about people. Like, I just think you should want to build everybody else up. Like, you should want to have good feelings towards other people. And I think if you're just having these negative feelings towards other people, that's not uplifting to yourself or others. I'm not saying that you have to be everybody's best friend, but if you're going in a public place and somebody orders like vegan nachos and you think that they don't look like they're part of the socially acceptable club, that's why a lot of people don't like veganism. And it does kind of have, even though I love a plant-based lifestyle, there is a lot of in your face about it that just turns a lot of people off. And then this is the thing I don't get. When a lot of people leave, they think about their health. I'm like, are they always thinking about themselves? And that's fine, you should think about yourself, but do they think about, like, well, I think vegans, Cosmic Skeptic, I think that's his name, he actually thought about it. He said he wonders if he hurt anybody with his commentary. Maybe he's one of the few that said, you know what? Maybe I hurt people. But did the big banana eating accounts ever think, maybe I hurt people. Maybe I made people feel bad. Maybe I promoted eating disorders. Maybe, just maybe. So a lot of people do not stay with veganism because the way it's promoted on YouTube is ED. A lot of it. Maybe not everybody. Like there's a couple of accounts, Cheap Lazy Vegan, Unnatural Vegan. They promote and Rainbow Plant Life, and a couple others that promote like a really balanced plant-based lifestyle. But beyond that, a lot of what you see is ED, where people are promoting eating a lot of fruit or like not eating fat, and it gets weird. And that's why a lot of people leave the plant-based lifestyle, because they're told, oh, you need to eat this really, really restricted diet, and you need to look this way, and you should not be kind to other people in public. So I mean, I don't know why all people leave veganism, but those might be some big reasons. And I just think maybe you should think about the words that you use towards other people. And it's not okay to like say things about people's appearance. Like, it's just not okay. Like, what kind of a culture do we live in when people think that's permissible? It has not been okay with a lot of people for a long time. But I feel like in veganism, people equated being cruel with saving the animals. If you cared about the animals, you'd care about people too. So yeah, those are just some of my thoughts about like the disordered side of veganism, and I consider myself plant-based for myself, not even because I want other people to do it. At the end of the day, I come from an introverted perspective because I'm like, I don't know, I don't really care what other people do. I just know what feels best for me, and I don't like religious organizations like that Ray Comfort guy who goes out and confronts people in public. Somebody asked me to talk about that on my other channel. That was just awkward and triggering because I feel like if you're a spiritual person, you can live a spiritual life for yourself. You're not going to go confront people in public and tell them naughty naughty. Well, vegans kind of do that too. And what a surprise that people don't stay with these restrictive lifestyles. And I don't think being plant-based has to be restrictive, but the way a lot of people portray it, it's just very vicious. And surprise, surprise, when they have health problems, it's okay to leave, but they didn't think about other people when they were making reaction videos or comments in public about people's appearances. Yeah, there's some things about veganism that are kind of whackjack. Just my opinion. But I love being plant-based. I just don't want to identify with a movement. My opinion. Anyway, thanks for watching.